welcome to Off My Shelves, a YouTube channel dedicated to looking at comic books and graphic novels. This episode is all going to be about this book next to me, Absolute Ronin, so we'll get underway. Ronin was originally a 6-issue mini-series that came out in the year I was born, 1983, and it is by the amazing, legendary artist and writer Frank Miller. Now Frank Miller is probably known to many of you by The Dark Knight Returns, Sin City and countless other books really. His reputation does definitely precede him, but this is one of those books that I don't hear talked about too often, but is certainly up there with my favourite Frank Miller books really. I absolutely adore in every way, shape and form Ronin, and to have it in an oversized format, in the Absolute format, is just perfect. It comes in this wonderful slipcase with beautiful full-size unspoiled art on both sides, and then inside the slipcase, and this is one of those slipcases that you have to tease. Some Absolutes slide out naturally, some you have to tease a little bit. I don't know why that is, but the slipcases in general, and the Absolute versions, as you've probably seen on the other episodes on my channel, are some of my favourite. But it comes with a dust jacket, and the dust jacket has art on the front and on the reverse as well. But then the real amazing artwork, I think, comes from a reproduction and a recolouring of a panel that appears inside the book, and it forms this wonderful wraparound cover of Ronin on horseback with Casey going through the wilderness of New York really. So what is Ronin about? Now Ronin is one of those crazy books really. This all about concept in many ways, but it is very much a character piece as well, but it is high concept. It's a science fiction book, it is, and it kind of brings together some of Frank Miller's love of Japanese art and history and samurai culture and Lone Wolf and Cub and all that type of thing, and it melds it with this futuristic type sci-fi. And so the book starts off, when you get into it, it is split up as it appeared in 6 individual books, and there's extras at the back and introductions at the front, but in general it kind of pretty much reproduces those original kind of comic books as they were, but just in oversized format, and wonderful kind of large full page spreads of the covers originally, which is great in every way. But when you get into it, you instantly see Frank Miller style artwork, perfect Frank Miller style artwork, and then colours by Lynn Varley. And it starts off right deep within the world of feudal Japan. It starts off with a samurai having a meeting with his lord that he's protecting, and then events happen and his lord gets deceived and murdered. Now this all happens within the kind of first page or two really, so it's not massive spoilers, but this sets this Ronin, as he was now because he's a masterless samurai, on a quest to have vengeance on the demon that deceived and killed his master, and take vengeance by killing him really. And so the first part of the book delves into that story, but then quite quickly on you get these glimpses of far into the future, and you start seeing a futuristic New York, a dystopian New York that is dominated by horribleness in every way, shape and form. All the worst human traits possible exist in this version of New York really. And right to the centre you have what's called the Aquarius Complex, and the Aquarius Complex is this large, massive scale kind of cutting edge complex with brand new living technology, and the computer in control of that forms one of the main characters in this book. Those of you familiar with the artwork of Mobius will see very large similarities between the style, the futuristic style. It's very Mobius inspired, I think it is anyway. It feels very much Mobius inspired. As the story goes on, you find out what happens with the Ronin back in ancient times in Japan, and then you find out what is happening in modern days. And somehow this Ronin has gone from fighting this battle with the demon Agate in Japan, and now he's in modern day futuristic dystopian New York, and that is where our story starts really and kicks off from there. And I wouldn't really want to say much else apart from that really, because you don't want to spoil the story in many ways, because every issue delves deeper into why the Ronin is there, what's happening to the world, and who has come with him into the future is the demon that he was fighting back in the feudal Japan. And so it's them basically transported and having this battle in this dystopian future. But it is so much more than that really, because each issue delves into a different aspect of this futuristic city really, and gives our Ronin and the supporting cast something to battle against and something to fight against and something to work towards overcoming really. It also introduces in issue 1 Casey, who is pretty much the main character really, even though it's named Ronin. Casey, who's the female lead in this book really, dominates it quite a lot in comparison to the Ronin really. She takes front and centre stage, pretty much equal standing to the Ronin, as she works in the Aquarius Complex and is tied into the story of that. The artwork throughout is just insanely gorgeous. I mean, when you see panels like our Ronin kind of travelling through Central Park with a horse. If you're familiar with Frank Miller's artwork, then you're getting all of the best of Frank Miller's artwork and then some in this. He really does do some of the best work that I've ever seen him produce really in this book, and that's why I wanted it in this absolute oversized format to get a maximum out of it, and it is just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, splash pages like that and the battle scenes and the stories are just wonderful in every way. I can't really big it up enough. If you like high conceptual kind of dystopian future tales featuring samurai Ronin and some maniacal kind of computers and demons, then this is definitely the book for you really, in every way, shape and form. I think a lot of people don't talk about this work as much as perhaps they talk about Sin City and Dark Knight Returns and that type of thing, because of issue 6 probably, the ending of the book. And the ending of the book is one of those kind of things that you do have to go back and reread and self-interpret it to a certain degree, because it doesn't paint the picture for you. And I think that's what a lot of people probably dislike, is that ending, an anticlimactic ending. But personally, I don't think it is an anticlimactic ending, because the first time I read it, and even the second and third time I read it, got better and better, because my interpretation and my impression and ideas behind the last issue became more kind of solidified. The extras in the back, there isn't a great deal of extras. There's a few little sketchbooks and a few penciled and inked pages, but not many really. And again, it doesn't really matter to me in any way, shape or form. I don't think I ever buy a book really for extras, to be fair. Like, every book I have seems to have extras and seem to use that as a selling point, but for me it's all about the story and the presentation, and this story being in oversized format and being presented so well in an absolute version is perfect for me. And with or without the extras, I would have bought it regardless really, and it's certainly one of my favourite Frank Miller books, second only really to The Dark Knight Returns, and a close second actually between Sin City, but we'll talk about Sin City another time. But it's certainly well worth your time, I think. But thank you very much for watching anyway, and I will catch you on the next one.